climate science before the Congress. And by the way, he thinks windmills cause cancer. On April the 2nd, he said, quote, if you have a windmill near your house, congratulations, your house just went down 75% in value. And they say the noise causes cancer.
You should be yes.
Look, we know about cancer. A lot of us. How many of you have lost someone to cancer? Or somebody you love? What do? We got an act passed after he got elected. Republicans and Democrats joining together to add $1 billion to research at NIH. $1.8 billion in a climate for dealing with cancer itself, named after my son. First budget he proposed is to cut $10 billion. Folks, imagine what we could do if we invested half of that cockamamie tax cut he gave, even a tenth of it, in scientific research to deal with what's happening with cancer, ended as we know it, Alzheimer's, dealing with obesity, dealing with what's happening. God Almighty, it's all within our power. Remember when Trump's Justice Department, speaking of health, Trump's Justice Department decided to argue that the Affordable Care Act is in its entirety unconstitutional just a few months ago? Well, by the way, pause for a second. I went into 22 states campaigning for over 60 Democrats running for the House, the Senate, governor, state legislative bodies. And guess what? I didn't hear any of them talking about being against Republicans, being against health care. All of a sudden, they had an altar call. I saw the Lord. I saw the Lord. He appeared before me. Now, I'm not, think about it. Think about it. All of a sudden, everybody was for dealing with the Affordable Care Act. Now he barely mentions the fact that he wants to cut it and get rid of it. He doesn't even tweet about it anymore. He knows the appearance will give the American people the same thrashing that they gave the Republican in 2018 for trying to get rid of the Health Care Act. Folks, guess what? If I become this party's nominee, I'm not going to let the American people forget it. Protections for pre-existing conditions. I'm not going to let the American people forget the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act, that their kid gets to stay in their parents' plan until they're age 26 if they can't afford it. I'm not going to let the American people forget that it's because of the Affordable Care Act that millions of people have gained health care. Folks, actually thinks that Wall Street and the super rich built this country. They didn't. The middle class built this country. American people didn't have a chance of never, ever let their country down. Not once. All they asked for is a shot. Just a shot. Folks. To work it, if I know I'm called middle class Joe, I'm always talking about middle class. Well, I'll tell you what, I know who built the country, know one more thing. With a growing middle class, we have economic, political, and social stability. Well, every other country goes through a crisis because they don't have the kind of middle class we had. Things begin to fray. For the first time, we no longer have the wealthiest middle class in America. And the middle class is shrinking in America. You have people out there now, many of you know them and maybe some of you, if you got a bill for $400 that you didn't anticipate in a month, you wouldn't know how to pay it. My dad used to say, Joey, remember, when we moved from Scranton, if you listen to Barack, you'd think I climbed out of a coal mine with a lunch bucket in my hand. Well, we had to move from Scranton, there's no work. And by the way, Trump went up in Scranton, where I'm relatively in good shape, and said, by the way, he abandoned you. I was 9 years old. Sorry, I didn't stay. I went home every summer. I went back for Christmas and Easter. I tried. president, it's gone. You realize when Reagan was president, there were about $800 billion they call tax expenditures, meaning things we don't collect taxes on. Not tax cut, tax expenditures, loopholes. Well, guess what? You know what it is today? $1,400 billion. You can't find me an economist anywhere in this state that will tell you there's justification socially, politically, or in any economic reason for at least $500 billion of that money. Imagine what we could do. We don't have to hurt anybody by eliminating. We don't have to punish anybody, including the rich. But everybody should start paying their fair share a little bit. When I'm president, we're going to have a fair tax bill. We're going to invest in people. We're going to invest in the economy. No rationale. I'm going to build an economy that doesn't just reward wealth, but build an economy that rewards work. Look, I have nothing against the wealthy, but they don't need it. They know they don't need another tax break. They know it. We're going to build an economy that works for everyone. An economy that, in fact, restores the dignity of work. And how can you, as a person busting your neck out there in your job, how can you have dignity if you can't provide for the basics for your family, for health care, for education, for just a little bit of breathing room? Just a little bit of breathing room. My dad used to say, middle class is a simple thing. It's about being able to own your home and not to rent it. It's being able to send your kid to a local school that's good enough that they did well, they can go on to school after high school, whether it's trade school, whether it's community college, whether it's 4 years of college. You know, right now, 65 out of the 100 jobs today require something beyond the high school degree. You know, the fact is, I've said it many times, that we can overcome 4 years of this presidency, and we'll go down in history as an aberration. No, I really mean, I think we can overcome it. A lot of damage has been done. It's going to take a lot of hard work. But ladies and gentlemen, if he's in the White House for 8 years, he's going to forever change and fundamentally the character of this nation. I really mean it. This is beyond the issues. I believe that Trump poses a fundamental threat to America. Yeah. First, what we stand for, who we are, what we believe. You know, we saw it in Charlottesville. I never thought I'd see that coming as a kid out of the civil rights movement. I never thought I'd see that. Neo-Nazis climbing out of fields with lighted torches. You saw it, contorted faces, filled with hate, chanting the same anti-Semitic bio, carrying Nazi flag.
What about unborn babies? He talks about this, but what about babies that are being killed?
This is not a They asked the president what he thought. He said, there's some very fine people in both groups.
What about the baby?
That's what he said. That's what he said.
God
Ladies and gentlemen, look. Later, when he realized when I said that he was getting some heat, he said, well, no, those people were just going to march to protect a statue, a Confederate statue. Look, he's yet to acknowledge and apologize for what he said. And it's gone around the world. And our children are listening. Silence is complicity. Look at what's happening. Look, and when we see at the border his policies of ripping kids from their mothers and fathers and putting them literally in the equivalent cages. Thousands of them. What about those? What does that say? What does that say to the world? Who we are? Folks, look. The phrase, we hold these truths self-evident, all men and women, all are created equal. It's an American creed. It's America, it's who we are. It's what we've been. We haven't always lived up to it. We've never fully abandoned it. We have never stopped trying to create a more perfect union. It's the American creed, but Trump doesn't see it that way. He thinks when we talk that way, it makes us weak. He has no idea, in my view, what makes us strong. What makes us strong as a nation is our honesty, our decency, treating everyone with dignity. Not the immigrant, the other. We give in this country ain't no safe harbor. Now, it's been given some credibility. People are coming out from under the rocks and saying things and doing things that never would be accepted before. It's a small percentage of people, but it's real. And again, not a joke. Our children are watching. Our children are listening. Look, understanding that Americans, we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
1/3 of the babies are murdered in this country!
We've always known that.
Abortion is murder.
Does anyone in this group understands that? Okay. Look, everywhere we turn, it's clear that Donald Trump is shredding what we most believe. We believe we have to restore, I believe we have to restore the basic values we stand for. We're not the most, we were led not by just the example of our power, but the power of our example. That's why the rest of the world has come to us. That's why so many people have flocked here. That's why America's an idea, the most unique idea in all of history, not a joke. The most unique idea in all of history. And it's being damaged around the world. Second, our standing in the world. Trump just attended the 75th anniversary of D-Day, the most important symbol in the world of the importance of American alliances. It was after that war that many of your fathers, mothers, and brothers and grandparents gave their lives. And what happened afterwards? We decided that we were no longer going to allow for the abuse of power of any one nation. So that's why we formed NATO. So no one nation could act independently to abuse their power like it happened before throughout history in Europe, at least 2 times in that century. And, what has Donald Trump done? Donald Trump has said a few words about NATO this time, but they're completely at odds with everything else he has done and said for years, including an interview he gave with Fox News just before he made his speech. He remains the only American president ever since World War II to threaten to leave NATO. Talked about the obsolescence of it. Talked about the need for the same reason, the whole rationale for the European Union was to not allow one nation to be able to dominate that region. What's happened? They're the enemy. They're the enemy. Did he do anything to signal that he's prepared to signal? He's prepared to walk away from the thugs and dictators he's embraced on the world stage? Standing before the international community, the G8, and turning to a dictator like Putin and saying, I believe him rather than all of our intelligence agencies? No, by the way, not only is it unbelievable, but think what it does to our allies, who, in fact, share information with our intelligence community. If the President of the United States says, I don't believe that, my Lord, it jeopardizes our security, not a joke. And he embraces Kim Jong-un, who is a damn thug. This is the guy who had his uncle's brains blown out. His brother, no, I'm not joking. And by the way, I was pleased to know that his alliance with Kim Jong-un, he and Kim Jong-un thought that maybe I shouldn't be president. Well, that's all. Well, then he said Normandy. And he tweets an attack on Bette Midler, the mayor of London, because he's Muslim. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's there with him in Normandy. A stunning display of childishness that the whole world watched. World leaders were watching. It was all of our friends around the world listening to what he was saying. Look, the behavior, the character of a president matters a lot. It matters what the president says. We used to say in the Senate, a point of personal privilege. I want to say something we don't say often enough. To our party or to our nation. Barack Obama was a president of extraordinary character and decency. Our children could and did look up to. How many of you know people yourself who've turned off television sometimes when he speaks? I know I missed the dinner that was here, or not long ago, I guess it was last Sunday, because my granddaughter was graduating from high school. And her best friend is Sasha Palumbo. After we're done, they've been to school together for the whole time. So Barack and I and Jill and the whole family, we got together afterwards to have a little late lunch and dinner for the families that all these girls grew up together with. And I watched how they look. They know who this man was. I was proud to work with him. I was proud of the work we did together for the Recovery Act, which kept us from going into a depression, in my view, and a lot of economies. And I'm most proud of the man he was and is. Raising proud. He was speaking, and I was out in California speaking at the same time. We were in different places around the country. And we were both asked, coincidentally, what we were most proud of in the administration. And it turns out we said the same thing, slightly different way. And I was most proud of, for 8 years, there wasn't one single hint of a scandal. Didn't instinctively miss him, Trump sure reminds us of why we need him back. Look, Donald Trump, President of the United States, just spent Saturday night attacking private citizens, using language like Little Johnny Deutsch or total loser. Barack Obama wouldn't do that. No president would do that. Most teenagers wouldn't do that. Look, he's setting a standard of crude language and embarrassing behavior that is burrowing deep into our culture. It's real, into our culture. And it's going to take some time to get rid of it, but we must. We must. It's not who we are. And folks, thirdly, our democracy. Our democracy is at risk. I never thought I'd use those words in my lifetime, but it's true. Everywhere you turn, Trump is tearing down the guardrails of democracy, tearing down the things that prevent the abuse of power. Whether it's a man raising his hand to strike a woman or a child, or an employer threatening workers and treating them like dirt, or an American president who has no respect for the rule of law. I can't stand for most Americans can't stand the abuse of power. Fake news, enemy of the people, These aren't words to be laughed at or dismissed. Just look what's happening around the world. Think of the dictators and tyrants using the exact same language Trump uses to justify their abuses of power in their country. Not a joke. Think about it. Trump's goal is simple. Discredit the news, discredit the free press, and run over the American people in terms of their safeguards roughshod. His attacks on the independence of the courts, whether it's saying when a judge with Mexican ancestry wouldn't give him a fair hearing when he disagreed with him because of Mexican heritage, or Obama judges. They're bad because, quote, he's looking to tear down the constraints the courts have put on him. The only remaining constraints. It's gone beyond attacks on the full range of law enforcement agencies, from the FBI and the intelligence community. Think about it. Name me another president. Look, I presided over both of those organizations as the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee and is doing major intelligence responsibilities for the President of the United States. He absolutely abuses them. They make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But my Lord, treating them like they're the enemy of the people, the deep state. My Lord, the deep state. It's like a science fiction novel. As well as, by the way, attacking the Congress, whether it's Democrat or Republican. He doesn't care. It's about breaking down the barriers that constrain his power. He's deliberately and completely ignoring the legitimacy of the Congress. And he's doing it with full complicity of the Republicans in Congress who know about it. They know that. In 2020, we not only have to repudiate Donald Trump's policies and values, we have to clearly and fully reject, for our own safety's sake, his view of the presidency. Quote, I have complete power. No, you don't, Donald Trump. No, you don't, Donald Trump. Fix yourself first, Donald Trump. Those phrases. We're in a moment we need to reset the constitutional norms of this country. The presidency is not without limits. The Congress is the co-equal branch of the government. The way our system is supposed to work, built by our founders, has allowed us to have the most successful democracy in the history of the world. And we're going to rue the day if we decide to walk away from the fundamentals of this democracy. For all our problems, folks. I'm optimistic. If I get elected, when I was 29 years old, I got elected to the United States Senate. I wasn't old enough to be sworn in. And I don't come from any material background. And Richard Nixon was running in Delaware and got over 64% of the vote. I won by a landslide of 3,100 votes. And because of firefighters. Folks, I was labeled a young optimist and the idealist. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm more optimistic about America's possibilities today than I was then. But none of it can happen if he is still there. Think about a different presidency. I don't mean, not even me, it's a different presidency. We're better positioned than any nation in the world to lead the 21st century. We have the strongest military in the history of the world. We lead by our example. North America is energy independent. The U.S. has the best research universities in all of the world. We have the most innovative people in the world. Our workers are 3 times productive as workers in Asia. That's a fact. No other nation can match us. The only thing that can tear America apart is America itself. This idea is so big, it's wider than any ocean, it's more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's bigger than anything. Only we can undo ourselves. Everybody knows knows who Donald Trump is. No, I'm not joking. Even the people who support him, they have no illusions about who he is and his character. They may choose him because he's benefited in ways that, in fact, are contrary to basic norms. But here's what we have to do. We have to let them know what we Democrats are, what we stand for. We have to let them know that we choose hope over fear, unity over division, truth over lies.